Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Story Garden. I have an amazing treat for us today. Um, Normally, everything is all about the kids, but this one is absolutely for adults, the parents. I have with us a live storyteller all the way from Maine. She is incredible. I can't get enough of her stories. This woman, you just give her a topic and away she goes. I don't know where her imagination, how she gets it, but it's fantastic. She really should have her own TV show. So let me introduce you to the woman who's starting a new YouTube channel called Kafina's Coffee Chat with Judy. So please welcome her. Hey Judy, how are you?
Good morning, Diane. I'm fine, thank you.
I can only see half of you. I know it's because you have it all set up for Kafina. She loves to hog everything.
Well, I'll move in a little closer to her if she will let me. How about that, Kafina? Okay.
Kafina is amazing. I'm so happy to have you here. So you are having snow, right?
We did. We got a big snowstorm last week, and we have a very, very white Christmas in our future. Everything looks really pretty. And it's always nice to have some snow for the holidays.
It is, isn't it? Well, being a Texas girl, right now we are freezing at around 60 degrees, which you don't call that freezing, do you?
No, that doesn't qualify up here, I'm afraid. It has to get a little colder than that.
And you actually have to put your coat on. We just carry ours to the car.
No, we have to have our materials ready. Coats, hats, boots, gloves, everything had better be ready to go.
I forgot about all that other stuff. Hats, gloves, boots, oh my. Well, it's a good thing I don't live way up there. I love visiting Maine, but I don't do too well in the winter. Tell me, before we get started, how did you come up with the whole Kafina idea?
Well, back a few years ago, Kafina was just an ordinary working coffee pot. She made espresso coffee every morning and was a very hard worker in the kitchen. But one day, Kafina slipped out of my hands and fell in the sink, and she broke her handle.
Oh my.
And she was very upset. Oh, it was a very sad day. So she complained and complained and complained, and we had to take her out of use and wrap her up in a tea towel and bandage her handle, which of course is her arm, and allow her to heal without doing any physical coffee making. She got very used to this, and she decided that she didn't want to go back to making coffee. All she wanted to do was to be the manager of the kitchen and tell everybody else what to do. We even had to buy a new coffee pot so that she could instruct how to make espresso coffee without having to do it herself. So ever since then, Kafina has been a character who has a lot of opinions. She has a very, very strong personality. She really is good at telling people what to do, especially me. And she practically runs the kitchen.
Oh my. Move over Miss Piggy, right?
Oh, Miss Piggy, I'm sorry. Kafina is here.
And with that, let's get started. You have something very special that Kafina wants to share with us, correct?
That's right.
Well, I'm going to step out and I'll be back after you finish, okay? And you take it away.
Okay. Kafina suggested that I write a story about one of our angels that's here in the house. Kafina has a very great love of Christmas. So she decided that we should write about our Christmas angel whose name is Noel. For 11 months of the year, Noel and her friends rested. They were comfortably wrapped in soft tissue paper and protected in a sturdy cardboard box. Occasionally, they were awakened, perhaps by a loud thunderstorm in the summer, or that time Samson the cat got into the attic and knocked their box off the shelf. But most of the time was spent sleeping. After all, they needed to be ready and rested. Every year on the 1st of December, Mrs. Hathaway climbed the steep stairs to the attic and pulled the cardboard box down from the shelf. She gently brushed off the year's accumulation of dust and carefully carried it down to the parlor. Years ago, the young Hathaway children would come up to the attic with her, chattering with excitement. Downstairs, Mr. Hathaway struggled to drag a fragrant fir tree through the parlor door. By now, Noelle and all her friends in the box were all wide awake and almost bursting with anticipation. They listened as the family wrestled the tree into the stand and secured the trunk. They could hardly wait to see it. Would it be tall and thin or short and full? Would the branches be thick and rich with needles? The heady scent of evergreen stirred memories of all their past Christmases. At last, Mrs. Hathaway opened the box and began to unwrap the contents, one item at a time, and then handed it to one of the children to hang on the tree. First out of the box was Jack, an ornament shaped like a gingerbread man. Then came Nick, the pudgy Santa, followed by Bambi, an elegant reindeer. Mrs. Hathaway then pulled out a divided box that held a trio of delicate golden glass balls. They were so identical that only their best friends could tell Eddie, Freddie, and Teddy apart. They were so identical that they just looked alike. After that came Margarita, a pearly white dove. And finally, Mrs. Hathaway reached into the bottom of the box and gently retrieved Noel. She smiled as she saw the angel that had topped their tree for decades. Grandmother had crafted Noel many years ago for trees that Mrs. Hathaway remembered as a child. Noel's head was a wooden bead painted with big blue eyes, a little pink smile, and rosy cheeks. Yellow yarn was teased into a puff of hair, topped by a silver tinsel halo. Her wings were cut from cardboard and coated with silver glitter. Noel's dress was sewn from thin white silk, embroidered with tiny stars. The angel was always the last decoration to be put on the tree. Mr. Hathaway would raise his youngest child, little Eloise, high above his head so the girl could perch Noel on the very top of the tree. From there, Noel smiled down benevolently on the entire Christmas season. As the years passed, changes occurred, as happens in every family. The children grew up and began to celebrate in their own homes. The trees became smaller, easier for an older couple to handle. Then one year, Mrs. Hathaway worked alone to put up her tree. The next year, Mrs. Hathaway watched from her chair as Ellen, her caretaker, put up the decorations. Noelle and her friends also began to show the effects of time. Nick's beard grew thin and matted. Part of Jack's gingerbread frosting had cracked off. Bambi lost an antler. Eddie had a scratch on his golden surface, while Freddie suffered a small crack the year Samson the cat knocked him off the tree. Teddy's hanger was crooked and twisted and a bit rusty. Even Noel had a crumpled wing and a tarnished halo. The year after Ellen joined the household, Noel felt that time passed especially slowly. The sturdy housekeeper took on more and more duties, while Mrs. Hathaway spent long hours wrapped in a crocheted afghan, watching the birds come and go from the feeder outside her window. Noelle and her friends could hear Ellen's sturdy steps as she dusted and vacuumed, washed and cooked, and eventually it was Ellen who stomped up the stairs to get the box. But when Ellen opened the box down in the parlor, things were not like any other year. A large vase of chrysanthemums and autumn leaves sat on the coffee table. Several greeting cards on the mantel read, "Happy Thanksgiving," and there was no sign of a Christmas tree. Ellen pulled Noel from the bottom of the box. She placed the tissue-wrapped angel on top of the bookcase, then reclosed the box, leaving all the others inside. "What's going on?" thought Noel. But Ellen just turned around and headed for the kitchen. "Dinner will be ready soon, Mrs. H," she called out as she disappeared down the hall. The next morning brought even more strange happenings. Noelle peeked out from her wrappings to see Ellen pull on her coat and red knit hat, pick up the cardboard box, and carry it out the front door. When she returned several hours later, she didn't have the box. Instead, she carried a bright red shopping bag marked with the logo of the fanciest department store in town. "What on earth can that be?" thought Noelle. Ellen bustled over to the chair where Mrs. Hathaway sat reading a magazine. "I got it, Mrs. H," she said, and then she pulled a package from the bag. "Oh, Ellen, it's perfect," said Mrs. Hathaway. Noelle squirmed to see past her wrappings. When she managed to get a good look at the box, her mouth formed a surprised "oh," and her spirits sank. Mrs. Hathaway was admiring a large, brand new angel with a porcelain head, iridescent wings, and a flowing gown that sparkled like spun gold. Noelle's heart broke. So, this newcomer would take her place at the top of the tree. And what would happen to her then? All her friends in the box had already been sent away. How long would it be before she shared their fate? Noelle spent the next few days lying on top of the bookcase, alone and ignored. Thanksgiving Day arrived, and Eloise brought the grandchildren to visit. For a few hours, Noelle remembered her early Christmases, filled with joy and children's laughter. Too soon, the afternoon was over. Mrs. Hathaway went to bed early, and Noelle sat alone in the darkness. She had never been so sad. On the next morning, Ellen arrived earlier than usual. Mrs. Hathaway got out of bed and went to meet her in the hallway. "Did you bring it?" she asked. "Oh, yes," said Ellen, "and it's beautiful." She went back out and soon was wrestling a bushy Christmas tree through the parlor door. After much huffing and puffing, Ellen secured the tree upright in its stand. The spicy scent of evergreen filled the parlor. "How lovely," said Mrs. Hathaway. "Did you bring the ornaments?" Ellen returned to the car and came back carrying the old cardboard box. "Here they are," she beamed. Mrs. Hathaway began to unwrap Noelle's old friends one by one and handed each to Ellen to hand onto the tree. Noelle watched and was amazed by what she saw. Nick had a new beard. Jack's frosting had been repainted. Bambi's new antler was a perfect match for her old one. Eddie, Freddie, and Teddy were patched up and sparkling, and so it went. Every ornament had been repaired and returned to like new condition. Noelle was happy for them, but she turned away. She couldn't bear to see her spot at the top of the tree taken by that new angel. Then she heard Mrs. Hathaway say, "Ellen, put the new angel on the table in the front hall, and then bring Noelle here." The housekeeper placed Noelle in Mrs. Hathaway's old blue-veined hands. She gently pulled away the tissue wrapping. "Why didn't you send the angel out to be fixed?" Ellen asked. "Because she doesn't need it," Mrs. Hathaway answered. "Noelle has always been perfect, just the way she is." Mrs. Hathaway smiled as Ellen pulled herself up on the stepladder. Reaching high, she placed Noelle where she belonged, on the very top of the tree. And that's the story of our Christmas angel, Noelle. Kafina, did you like that? Oh, yes, it was very good. I enjoyed it tremendously. I think Noelle is terrific. She is, isn't she? Well, we wish you all a very, very happy holiday season, and we hope that your ornaments are as bright and as shiny as all of Noelle's friends turned out to be.
Wow, that is an amazing story. Just thank you so much for sharing your gift of storytelling and the angel. So, excuse me, could you hold Kafina up so we could all see her really well?
Here's Kafina. She's decked out in her holiday finery. She loves to dress up for holidays. Here we go, Kafina.
Oh, you look beautiful, Kafina.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing that story with us and with our families that listen to the Story Garden. And I will see you backstage in just a minute, okay?
Okay, my great pleasure. Thank you, Diann, for having us on. Thank you, Diann. Bye.